The first question is from Nomura Securities, Masuno-san. Mr. Masuno, you have the floor. Thank you very much. Two questions. My first question is about the data center. You talked about the strength. You mentioned the strength for the NTT Group overall, but with regard to data centers, if the migration to cloud is accelerating, and in the post-COVID-19 universe, I believe that this will continue to project very strong growth. But in terms of comparison with your competition, what is your strength? I know that there are variances and differences from region to region, but in terms of digital reality, Equinix, what is the difference between your competition? That's my first question. Yes, thank you. Well, DRT, Equinix, competition. What is the comparison between our competition such as DRT and Equinix? As I mentioned earlier, network cloud data center included, NTT has the capacity to provide total comprehensive services. So in the facilities that we deliver, we're able to provide very robust management and deliver that to our customers. We believe that represents our strength. And the customers' demands and requirements are changing. For example, back in 2016, when I was in Hong Kong until 2009, this was at a time when customers were beginning to explore the possibility of cloud in Asia. And at that time, we had data centers and cloud in migration, and we're trying to drive migration to cloud. And we provided very meticulous technical support to our customers, and we're able to support customers' migration to cloud. We actually offered the implementation of cloud as well. So this is something that we really cared about and we emphasized. Well, in the case of North America, I think you're beginning to see increasing capacity for hyperscalers. You talked about 100 billion yen data center capex. You mentioned that you're going to continue this caliber of capex for data centers outside Japan. How sustainable is this investment? And also, as NTT and Docomo work together, I know that there are possible talks about selling some of the assets and incorporating REITs. What about the possibility of taking off balance some of those assets going forward? Well, first of all, with regard to the investment, the requirements of the hyperscalers continue to be very robust. So up until 2023, we believe that this will continue to a certain degree. At the same time, though, it's important that we become an asset-light operation, that we have that very strong mission. So taking assets off balance, that is something that we're pursuing in parallel as well. I say thank you very much. That is all.
Thank
you very much, Mr. Masuno. Next question is from SMBC Nikko Securities, Mr. Kikuchi. Mr. Kikuchi, please. Kikuchi speaking here. My question overlapped with Masuno-san. It was about the expansion of the scale of the data center, but it was answered, so I'm fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Kikuchi. Next question is from SBI Securities. Mr. Moriyuki, please. Mr. Moriyuki, please. Can you hear me? Yes. So earlier you talked about your strength, managed services. What do you think your weaknesses are vis-a-vis your competitors? And in what time frame, how do you plan to resolve those weaknesses? Yes. Private cloud service is our core to deal with the cloud, migration to cloud. Our customers, some have needs to migrate to public cloud. So in case of migration to public cloud, our customer support and the various automated performance monitoring and patch for security problems. These are routine tasks, but customers, as managed service, we do these businesses for them. And our cloud service is making profit automating this at high efficiency. But once there's migration to public cloud, we cannot do all these services for them. But it's a market trend. So public cloud, cloud security, strength will be explained. We will explain our strength in private cloud and support the public cloud too. We can support to a certain extent. So that is what we will do in the sales activities. So any initiatives on the public cloud side? You will continue what you are doing now after migrating to public cloud? Or are you going to take any particular actions in public side? We announced a strategic alliance with Microsoft the other day. Our strategic partner, Microsoft Azure service, will be offered to those who want public cloud. That's our policy. A managed service can be provided in that opportunity. And you will expand that going forward. Yes. This strategic alliance to go to market, service development, it covers a wide range of areas. So we will drive this forward. Thank you very much.
はい、森幸様ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Moriyuki-san. I'm afraid in the interest of time, this will be the final question of the session. Next question is from Daiwa Securities, Mr. Ando. Mr. Ando, you have the floor. Please go ahead. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask a qualitative question. I would like to ask about your feeling as an actual management of NTT Ltd. Let me first ask a question about the organization. I know, are you going to revisit your reporting line going forward? Have you already completed the restructuring of a reporting line? That's my first question. Well, last fiscal year, this organization was established, and the head office was located in London, and the management team has been active since July of 2019. In principle, based on that management team, we're pursuing our business and operations. But for example, depending on regions, starting from yesterday, actually, in the case of Asia, APAC and Australia was integrated into one region. Very close as a region. And the requirements of the customers are very close. So, depending on the situation, the organization will be revisited. But the basic policy will follow the situation we established last July, which is having head office in London and having hub offices in other regions. That principal structure remains unchanged. It seems, is it correct to understand that the reporting line follows a very well entrenched top-down system? Well, let's say that with regard to integration policy and the intentions of the management team from the head office be projected to the various regional sites, that needs to be important. But it has to be directional. It's important that we'll be able to get feedback from the people on the ground. So that is very important in terms of the governance structure. And compared with the time that we launched the system last year, I think that situation has really significantly improved. Thank you. My second question. Especially in North America, we see a market that is very dynamic and very rapidly changing. If you could just share with us your impression. You mentioned that value-added services accounting for 50% of the sales going forward. But I guess my question is, as you try to migrate to this platform, if you are making progress, do you believe that you are in a position where you're able to reach your targets ahead of your competition? Or do you believe that the targets you have set is simply in line with the prevailing situation? In the case of North America, we have companies that operate data centers. We have managed service operating company. We also have a network company as well. And we have the head office, and we have a very robust sales team there. Up until now, in the context of NTT Ltd, we would provide proposals to the customers. And we're now beginning to receive orders for value-added service projects, inclusive of value-added services and data centers. So we believe that going forward, together with our sales force at NTT Data, NTT Ltd will be able to propose value services to NTT Data's customers. So we want to accelerate one NTT team activities going forward. So I hope that you look forward to the results. It might take a bit of time, but if we start now, we believe that by next fiscal year, we will be in a situation where we're able to provide proposals, very positive proposals that also reflect value-added services, and that will lead to new orders taking. And we hope that this will further bring about results in 2022 and 2023. That is my expectation, and that I believe is the expectation on the part of NTT Holding Company, and we want to make sure that we drive this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ando. With that, we will end the Q&A session. After this, we will have a Q&A session. So please ask more questions there. Mr. Ozaki, Mr. Nakayama, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention.